Today, Twitter is exploring a new business model. What does this mean for free social networks?
Then Best Buy is shifting to online, but is it too late?
And what are NFTs and why do they matter?
I'm Stephen Rosenbaum, and this is Future Forward.
I'm Alexa Scordato. Let's launch.
Hey, Alexa.
How's it
all
going?
kinds of news. So the world tour continues in your land?
Road tripping.
Road
Yes.
tripping.
Escape winter.
But still here. By the way, there is in the air in New York just a little bit of spring.
It's officially that time. Don't you remember like South by, you would like bundle up in a winter jacket, show up in Austin, change into like spring clothes, and then you'd come back to New York and it kind of felt like you took the weather with you. That's how I felt every South by.
I am having a little barbecue anxiety, lack of barbecue anxiety. But South by this year is going to be all digital. It starts in a couple of days, actually, and we have a great panel on South by that I'm very excited about deplatforming with really smart people. So we have 3 chapters today. The first is Twitter, the second is Best Buy, and the third is NFTs. So shall we just start with Twitter?
Let's do it. That's a low-hanging fruit. That's the one I think I have an official opinion on.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so what's your take? Is it a win or a loss? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I can't break it up that way. I have 2 different opinions. So let me tell you. First of all, I call bullshit on this super user marketing crap.
What do you mean by that? That super users don't exist?
No, it's just not what I mean. Remember when you went to the App Store and all the apps were free?
Mm-hmm.
And then oops, they had paid add-ons. And now when you download the free app of anything, it just basically doesn't work.
Right.
So you start with free, and then you put a speed bump, and then you move the speed bump forward, and then you move the speed bump forward. So to me, this is Twitter saying we're going to be a paid service.
Okay. So you think it's going to make the user experience worse? But what about the business implications? Do you think it's going to work?
No. I did not say those words. I think it might make the user experience better. This is part of a larger. This is part of a larger conversation about advertising supported media and news and information versus subscription based. Wait, but you said you had an opinion, so do yours.
I think it's going to be great for the business. Like I'm going to go buy Twitter stock. I think it's going to be good for business, but I think it's going to be, I'm putting air quotes, bad for the user.
Because it will cost money instead of being free?
I just think that it's funny. The tension that I feel like is the sort of the conversation around Twitter and the barometer or metrics around quality can be so subjective. And so then adding on this like layer, this paid layer on top of that, I think that there's just too much that could go wrong in terms of mismatched expectations. So, for example, say I start to pay for super follows, and then the content is not that great. I actually feel bad about that as a person.
So here's why I am unbelievably positive about this, other than calling bullshit on the marketing strategy. I think what we're learning across the board at YouTube, at Facebook, at Twitter, at all these places is, as much as we've tried to suggest that advertising was going to evolve with the web and that people were going to, that advertising was going to be a higher quality, the advertisers would pay for quality. Advertisers want eyeballs. And so we've bought into this metric that says the more, the lower, the more, the coarser and more dramatic you can publish things, the more you're going to get more eyeballs, and advertisers will pay you more money. And so I think for Twitter to say, actually, we're going to shift to having our consumers pay for value, is a good thing. Maybe even a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, some of this is just about how, I guess it's only, I think only a select few, maybe 1% of all Twitter users will really be able to effectively monetize their content. And then maybe an additional 5 to 9% will see some success with their like paid newsletter add-ons. But I feel like 90% of people who tweet, this is not applicable.
Well, so keep in mind,
maybe that's okay.
Twitter just bought Revenue, which is a newsletter publishing. I mean,
right, that's what I mean. Yeah, like super follow plus newsletter equals monetization. But I feel like only a select few are really going to be able to take advantage of making, I don't know, making a living or making any type of meaningful revenue from it. It's like YouTube, you know, when you like read all these articles about YouTube creators, and it's really like maybe the 1% of creators who can actually make it a full-time job.
So I'm surprised to hear you say this, because mostly on the big picture stuff we agree, but maybe I just have more scar tissue from the early days than you do. Like, if you go back to the early days of Blogger or WordPress or this kind of democratization of publishing, like nobody had any fantasies about getting rich writing a blog. That wasn't the motivation. It was, hey, I'm Steve and I have something I want to say occasionally, and I'm going to make a blog to do that. And some number of people who know me or don't know me are going to read it, and that's going to feel good. And some weeks it would be 30 people, and some weeks it would be 300. But like, there was never, I'm going to make 100,000. So then the media started spinning up this, you know, YouTube billionaires and, you know, create your own business. And that, so to your point, I think when you say sadly, well, for most Twitter publishers, you know, they won't ever be able to get value out of this. I think they're fine with that. I mean, how often on a weekly or daily basis do you tweet?
Once a week, maybe.
Yes, I'm probably 3 times a day, and a couple retweets. But I'm really clear about the fact that that doesn't make me visual enough to have any real impact in that universe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not necessarily saying it is bad. Like, I think it's really good for Twitter as a business and as a stock. I think this news equals buy. But I just think, you know, a lot of like tweet threads are really great blog posts, and a lot of great newsletters and Substacks are also blog posts. I guess anything that gates content on the web, I'm never really going to get super excited about, because to your point, I really loved the web for the fact that everyone could be a publisher and that content was accessible and open. And so I guess that's what I'm reacting to, which is like, oh gosh, it's like, you know,
I get
creating a system that rewards content gating is just never going to be a thing that I'm like pumped about.
How about creating a system that diminishes the influence of advertising on content creation?
Like, super into that, but like, rather than put the onus on the content creators to monetize and regulate their content, I'd rather just pay Twitter $9.99 a month to give me some premium features and let me control the algorithm.
All right, so we'll have to see how this turns out. But I guess what I'm interested in and what I'm thinking a lot about is, how do we balance the fact that we want everybody to be able to publish, right? We don't want, at least I do. I want publishing to be democratic, but I also don't want the noisiest garbage to float to the top of the pile because there is no out. So, I mean, this gets back to my, earlier days in curation, which
Mm-hmm.
is if you said, you know what, I know so much about the web and about marketing that I'm going to build a paid Twitter thread that's going to be, Alexa talks about what's working, what's not today in marketing. And 100 people who know you found that incredibly valuable and paid $4.99 a month. Two things happen. One, you make money at that number. Like not an it crosses past the beer money threshold.
Mm-hmm.
But secondly, there's a virtuous cycle that people are now saying to you, we're following you and paying for your writing, not because we like you or we're trying to throw you a bone because you're a nice person, but because it actually provides value. And so that makes you work harder to make the writing better because now you've got a paying. Like, I think it's potentially a much healthier relationship than, I mean, this is the whole Tristan Harris thing, which is, if you're not paying for the product, then you're the product.
You're the
Right?
product.
I mean,
For sure. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't pay Twitter. It's more just like, do I want to pay specific individuals for premium content that they are dictating is, premium editorial?
and by the way, I heard a quote from Zuckerberg the other day who pushed back on the Tristan Harris, free means you're the product thing. And he was very derisive and basically said, that's just not true. I mean, we care about our readers, we care about our users. And my immediate reaction as I was hearing this was, I wonder how many people they have assigned to a skunkworks to both track the Twitter uptake of the super user on Twitter and B, to plan some kind of a Facebook service of some sort. They probably have 10 different projects going of paid services.
Yeah, I think that we can talk about this next week. They just launched a feature for rappers, and it's in direct response to sort of the rap community that has emerged on TikTok. Like, I just think Facebook has really lost its way because they can't think of an original feature if the fate of their business depended on it. They're just in the business of, copying and pasting.
Marketplace is truly terrible.
Yeah, but in some ways it's better than Craigslist.
Well, that would be that's a podcast for another day because I still a Craigslist devotee and I use it with ninja-like skills.
Ooh, okay, we should definitely put this on the list. But let's close the loop on the Twitter follow. So I think net take, good for business. It's a worthy experiment, but in terms of putting the onus on creators to create even more and to make better, it's just, I don't know.
Is it a Jack move or is it a Jack play or did it get done somewhere at the management level and Jack said, yeah, all right, fine?
I mean, it might have come in direct response to the algorithms being evil and we have to have tighter controls around content consumption. And so this actually gives people, I don't know, more license, I guess.
Did Jack go off to the desert and smoke some really good weed and have this idea?
Honestly, I don't know. He has that SWAT team now, like of the five people who are like working on the future of the web.
Did not know this. Did not know this.
That's another. Okay. So Craigslist and then Jack's like SWAT team. That's what we're going to talk about next week.
All right. Unless the world implodes in some other way. All right. So Best Buy. You and I both had Best Buy experiences this week that were diametrically different. So you go first.
So I had to actually get a podcast mic because I was sounding tinny on previous episodes. And so I actually went to, and I didn't want to get it on Amazon. I just wanted to sort of either go to a store, instant gratification. And so I went to Best Buy, looked at my nearest location, looked up the podcast microphone that I wanted, and then I ordered it and it was ready. It said it would curbside pickup would be ready within an hour. I got an email 15 minutes later saying you could pick it up. And I showed up at the store and it asked me what color car I was in, where I was parked, and that someone would be outside within 3 minutes. And every expectation along the way was met. And so I had a great Best Buy experience. I got what I wanted, and it was like clear, consistent communication. And you're smirking like you
Yeah,
can't possibly believe this is like
no,
a real
no.
thing.
No, I'm smirking. I am smirking because the motivation for you to be a Best Buy customer was to make some political or personal statement about not buying it from Amazon.
That's true.
And you didn't go into the store, so you didn't actually have a shopping experience. You went online.
I had an online shopping experience.
Right. But you didn't. But you traded an Amazon online experience for a Best Buy experience. The only difference is instead of it showing up at your doorstep the next day, you had to go wait in line, use an app, tell them what color car you were in, and pick it up. You basically volunteered to be the last mile of the Best Buy experience for free.
My name is Alexa, so yeah. I can Alexa bribe myself. Yes.
So I was trying to buy an iPad, and I was on a deadline because it was for someone for a trip. And I went online, couldn't find the one I wanted. Called the Apple store, spoke to somebody lovely. He looked and looked and looked, and he said, honestly, so many people are working from home and kids are using them. He's like, the one you want is 2 weeks out. And he said, I'm sorry that I heard him clicking, and he said, I do think there's one at a Best Buy near you. And I said, half joking, there's only one problem with that. And he said, what's that? And I said, it means I have to go to Best Buy. And he laughed. And he said, well, see, they may be able to help you out. So I called Best Buy, called the store, waited on hold for 15 minutes, hung up, went back to the website, called the 800 number, got a reasonably nice guy. And he looked at the same website I was looking at and said, can you go to New Jersey? I said, no. He said, can you go to Brooklyn? I said, no. I said, here are the 5 stores within walking distance of my house. And he looked and he goes, yeah, maybe in a week. But like, I was like, so what was interesting was he didn't offer to ship it. He could have said, this one in Jersey, buy it from me now and we'll ship it to you tomorrow or the next day. And that would have been, and I would have given him $497. But my experience with Best Buy has been that the physical stores and the online experience people have been in a life or death, Godzilla versus Mothra battle for the last 10 years. And that they don't work for the same company and they don't like each other and they don't support each other. And, if you want to get it online, good luck with that. Off you go. And the stores, by the way, now have a whole check-in procedure called concierge shopping. So you show up, you give them your name and email address, and then they let you into the store with someone to walk you around.
Oh, that would actually give me anxiety. I definitely don't like that. But none of this news is surprising. So the big headline this week was that Best Buy is going to lay off 5,000 workers, and they're going to shift to more of an online experience. And they're even exploring how to convert the retail footprint so that it is smaller for consumers to shop in, and they're going to repurpose space in their existing stores to fulfill online orders. And they have a bunch of leases across their thousands of stores, and they're probably not going to renew a bunch of them. And this is actually after having a really good 2020 and Q4. Like they were up, say, 12% with a pandemic, as more people were shopping for, electronics and kitchen stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Do you remember CompUSA?
Yeah.
So,
It looked like Staples,
spectacularly,
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Fry's went out of business last week. Have you ever been to a Fry's?
No. How do you spell it?
Fry's it's Fryes. Fry's
Okay.
was a West Coast legend, like a great big Radio Shack, massive, massive Radio Shack, where all the
Oh,
geeks that wanted to build
Radio
their own
Shack.
computers would go and walk the floors. And like I went to Fry's once, and it was a religious experience.
But okay, so this is where retail stores just miss the mark, is because they never thought of their stores as communities. Right? Just the big box stores never found a way to replicate that. And maybe we'd be in a completely different place if they just had that mindset.
At the risk of becoming an Amazon fanboy, which I am not, if you're doing home repair, as I am at the moment, it is really jaw-dropping. Like, you're looking for 2-inch rubber cove molding with an adhesive back, and you put that into Amazon, and you get 17 colors and 4 sizes and 6 different sellers, and it's priced competitively, and it comes tomorrow. It's like
Yeah.
it's and by the way, when you buy something on Amazon that doesn't come tomorrow, at this point, for me, it's a little disappointing. Which is weird. Which is totally weird, because do I need the rubber cove molding tomorrow? Of course not. Of course I
Right.
don't.
I think I
But
saw that you can buy like small homes now on Amazon, like tiny houses.
so here's of all the terrible things Best Buy is doing, and there's an unlimited number of them. I'm got a post going up tomorrow about Best Buy on Media Post, and it kind of details a whole long list of terrible things. But the thing that is maybe the most terrible is this idea that they're going to compete with Amazon's massive, finely tuned, unbelievably effective robot-driven warehouses by taking retail footprints in expensive retail space and put up a wall, make the Best Buy floor experience smaller, and make the back of this very expensive real estate into badly manned or woman staffed local delivery. I mean,
But you know
they're
who's
working
having
backwards.
success doing it? Walmart. Walmart's really turned it around. Like they can compete with Amazon.
I should probably buy something from Walmart just to experience it.
You should also like if you download the
They have
Walmart app.
They have like a website.
And their mobile app is so useful. And again, now that I'm sort of a resident of Pennsylvania, like I am a Walmart regular, and it is so convenient. It really.
But not Target. But not
There's no Target near me. There's no Target near me, but maybe.
See, if I were in the suburbs, I could be a Target person, but I'm not sure I could be a Walmart person.
I used to think the same thing.
All right, let's go to chapter 3.
So Best Buy is going to die, you think?
Well, that's a good rhyme. My headline of my article for tomorrow is Best Buy bye-bye.
Oh, that's cute.
But is Best Buy going to die might be better. No, it's not strong enough.
No.
Best Buy die. No. Anyway, all right.
Bye-bye Best Buy.
Bye-bye Best Buy. But buy stock in Twitter, you're saying?
Yes.
So bye-bye Twitter, different buy, BUY. All right. Stock advice from Alexa. All right. So now let's move to the last most mysterious thing, which is NFTs.
Oh my gosh. It's come up so much in the last few weeks. So listeners, if you don't know what an NFT is, it's okay. I just found out recently it's a non-fungible token, which still probably doesn't mean much to anybody, but
so this is about collectibles, right?
It is about it's another layer on top of crypto that basically encrypts digital items.
So, do you collect
Anything?
anything?
Um, Not like obsessively, but like I have like hot sauces and I have like a lot of edible things and like I wouldn't say I
You-
collect them though. I just like them.
right, but you don't have them like hermetically sealed so they can't be opened. You use them.
No. Actually, there is one thing I collect. This is I don't know if I've ever said this publicly to anybody. I collect cocktail menus. I have hundreds and hundreds of cocktail menus from around the world.
Okay, that's really cool. That's like, see, but here's the difference. Like, you don't want people to send you cocktail menus. These are places you've gone.
Yes. Yep.
So it's like collecting matchbooks or matchboxes from. I totally get that.
And they're not for sale. So in order for me to obtain them, I actually have to befriend the bartender and ask them if I could have it.
Okay, I always like to take away from our podcast one phrase that I'm going to use in the future, and befriend the bartender is the phrase of today.
Okay. It's a
We're
good
gonna
life
go, that
skill.
could be, it also could be it could be part of your journey. Like, we're going to go on this befriend the bartender tour.
Yeah.
So both of my sons at different times in their life collected Pokemon cards, and I pretended to understand, and they would explain, this is very rare, this one rare. I'm like, it's a printing press that makes them, so they're rare because somebody is promising you they won't print more of them. And then turns out a couple of the ones they wanted turned out to be fake, so they weren't.
No.
So what I don't understand about NFTs is how you create scarcity and rarity in digital goods. Want to understand.
Okay, so here's a really good application of an NFT. You know, are you familiar with the platform Cameo, where celebrities record quick videos and it
Yep.
blew up? So if they actually created an NFT within their product, it's great because it means that all of the Cameo videos are unique. Whereas if you saw also this week on TikTok, there was this video floating around of this deep fake with Tom Cruise, and it looked exactly like Tom Cruise. And so you can imagine that the NFT on the video of the celebrity is actually verifying that it's that person.
So it's a guarantee that digital goods are unique and what they claim to be.
Yes.
I did see the Tom Cruise one, but to be honest, I watched it twice and couldn't understand why it was interesting, because it was clearly Tom Cruise.
Yeah, scary.
I was like, yeah, and then I was like, they're claiming it's not Tom Cruise, but it certainly looks like Tom Cruise. Speaking of which, did you see that Epic Games Unreal Engine announced MetaHumans this week?
No, what's that?
MetaHumans is a software platform that allows you to create and manipulate unbelievably lifelike human characters.
Oh, I mean, they're really close to that. Like every time you pick a video game character, you can customize the hair, the bone structure, the eyes, the skin tone. It's incredible.
The woman who runs the Epic Labs for Unreal Engine is amazing. Her name is Connie Kennedy, and she's going to be our guest next week after next, middle of next following week at the Media Labs Storytelling and Tech Conference. And she promised to show us stuff we haven't seen before, so I'm excited about that.
That's great. Okay, so here's the challenge for me with on the NFT side is that I think like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, like blockchain in general, is still really nascent, and it's really hard for the average person to understand. And then you have collectibles, like what is the value of collecting sneakers or Pokemon cards? And that's also not necessarily universally understood, and it's super niche. And so take something that's that's hard to understand, take things that are niche and not applicable to the masses, smash together, and then you have NFTs. And I'm just kind of at this place where I can acknowledge that it's useful, to have kind of like a, I don't know, a digital mechanism to identify that something is what it is supposed to be and unique and valuable. But I don't even understand how I'm supposed to like use it. Like if I'm an artist and I want to make a collection of 10 digital pieces, how do I access NFTs? How do I distribute it? And how does my buyer also understand the NFT? Like what am I looking at? What am I looking for?
Oh, you're asking. I'm going to float back up to the 30,000 foot level, which is more and more artists are doing their work in digital.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there is now the beginnings of an economic underpinning that makes their work unique and protectable and saleable, and that there is a marketplace growing, I guess $100 million marketplace so far, but will only grow for digital art, I think is flippin' fabulous. Like,
Totally.
I think it goes in the absolute good news category.
I don't disagree. I think I'm more just like, how do I participate?
I'm going to buy a crypto kitty today.
Really? Where do you
No,
buy?
I have not. I don't even know what that means. I was just using.
But that's what I mean. It's like I've read all of these articles, and I think the entire premise is amazing. Like allowing artists to protect their work and to sort of stamp it, like in the way that art historians know if a Monet is really a Monet. It's like, okay, cool. There's now a digital equivalent for that. I just don't really know how to participate. And like, if I did want to buy a crypto kitty or NFT backed art, what does that experience look like?
I think you and I ought to start a business and build a marketplace for NFT backed art. Because if it doesn't exist, someone's going to build it. I think it should be us. Well, probably not. It should be somebody that actually loves it and knows it. But what's missing is the front end, or maybe it exists already and we just don't know what it is yet. But like, if you and I are both saying half jokingly, hey, we'd like to buy some digital art with an NFT, and there isn't a way to Google that and find a existing platform with a ability to spend your Bitcoin and buy something, then that by next week's show there will be.
Okay.
All right. Go enjoy New Orleans. Have a great week. See you next week.
See ya.